This is Providence Television International, the game changer.
Welcome to the newspaper analysis on Providence Television International. I am Ogbebo Ikekwa. With me to analyze the papers is the chairman, CEO, Providence Television International, Dr. Emmanuel Egariba. You're welcome to the studio.
Well, thank you very much. Actually, yes, this program is coming at a time when we are in the middle of the rainy season. And on Saturday, for example, Benin experienced quite torrential rainfall early in the hours in the morning. And this, I think, is the most unagreeable of all the months. July is usually very wet, extremely very wet. And I think that people will have to grapple with it, no matter what. I believe that our clothing should be right, wear the right clothes to keep warm. And I believe that the drains should be cleared. Because this is the time to throw sort of things inside the drains. But if the drains are not cleared, then we are making room for floods in this whole place. So I believe that our people must be up and doing. And I believe what applies to Benin also applies to many parts of Nigeria.
Exactly.
Okay, so we want to thank God for His mercies that no harm, people did not come on harm's way really, even though the rain fell in torrents. So, but I believe that very soon we'll have a low tide and people will be back to their normal lives.
Exactly. Like you rightly pointed out, the results are peculiar to just Edo State.
Yes.
In our news bulletin yesterday, we actually reported that 4 children lost their lives in Gombe due to flooding. And, well, we hope that the governments of the day should be able to properly work on the drains. That of
and actually, just to cut in here, I mean, you know, as part of our news now, we have weather forecasts.
Exactly.
I mean, this is based on science. And a lot of people take it for granted. You could see that on Friday, for instance, we said on Saturday there will be rainfall in Benin, and there was heavy rainfall.
Yes.
So we should, I will advise that people should watch newscasts more and more, particularly for the weather forecast. That will help you in planning and also your movement around the whole place.
Exactly. And so let us delve into the papers. We'll be looking at a very touchy issue. The issue as regards healthcare in Nigeria. On the front page of the Guardian newspapers, we have poor facilities, funding, diminish cancer patients' access to healthcare.
Cancer is a particularly worrisome ailment, okay? It's worrisome because people who suffer from cancer, they go through all kinds of pain and misery. But, I mean, it's just a question of tackling our health issues more frontally. I'm talking about government now, not just federal government, but also state governments. For instance, how many cancer centers do we even have among the states? I'm not even talking about the federal government. We must have cancer centers so that people can go through treatment seamlessly, all right? And cancer drugs should be, I think there should be some kind of relief. I mean, in terms of funding, even for importation of drugs, they should be tax-free and all of that. So, but I believe that yes, the Guardian is always right. Most times they are right, and I'm sure they have done some research to come to that conclusion that funding should be raised up. I mean, the niceties of funding should be raised up, and people should suffer less. Yes. In fact, in advanced democracies, cancer patients are given special treatment. Okay? And I think that should apply in Nigeria. And there are a lot of people have passed on, very important people have passed on. I mean, remember Professor Akunyili, she died of cancer.
Yes.
And many important personages in this country have died of cancer. And women are always at the receiving end because they have something peculiar about their nature, their anatomy. Of cancer of the ovary, cancer of the uterus, cancer of the breast, you know. So there are all kinds of, there are limitations when it comes to men, but women are worse sufferers. So special attention must even be paid to them, by the way.
Exactly. Well, I remember you mentioned earlier that these patients should be allowed to suffer less. It seems that in Nigeria, you're moving from one complaint to the other. Let us leave the health sector now and go to electricity. On the front page of the Weekend Trust, where we are under burden of exorbitant charges, electric supply. This is coming from Band A customers.
Well, these issues affect us more because there's a screaming headline there. How far can the ADC go? We are skipping there for a moment to talk about this more important issue. Electricity is the basis of our, I won't say existence, I mean of our living as Nigerians, okay? Once you remove electricity from it, we are down. Because industries they work, manufacturing industries, for example, it is the electricity they consume that makes them work, all right? In your household, it's electricity. Everything works on power, even to charge your phone and things like that. But people have been complaining, not just people who are in Band A or Band B or whatever. Everybody's complaining about this. And we have talked about this repeatedly on this station. It seems to me nobody is listening. And I said on one of our programs, I think about a couple of months ago, that we are even tired of speaking about it because it's like you're talking to people who are not even ready to listen, okay? So electricity must be tackled head on. I mean, it makes me laugh, for instance, when governments talk about meaningful development and they leave electricity out. It's very funny. In fact, it's laughable because if you go to Europe or most of the Western countries, the main thing is electricity supply. Yeah, round the clock, 24 hours. There's no stoppage. You can imagine in the city of New York, for instance, and there's a stoppage for 5 minutes. Hell is let loose. All hell is let loose. Yes. Back in 1982, I was in Europe, somewhere in Europe. And then, 1982, you can imagine how far back. And everything was running on electricity in the country I visited. Specifically, I'm talking about Sweden. As at that time, everything, even the trams, running on electricity, your mattresses, and things like that. So it is imperative that governments must look at this very thoroughly and ensure that we have the benefits of enjoying what government rightly can offer us. Okay, we have gas in this country, and yet electricity operators are talking about shortage of gas, even in this country. How can that be? For example, how can that be? We have dams all over the place. They are collapsing. In fact, last year, or was it this year or last year?
Last year.
Yes, many collapsed.
Yes.
Dams, because they were not functional as they should be. So these are issues on ground, and I believe that people have a right to complain to government ceaselessly. Yeah, that's it.
Well, another issue that has been on the front burner of the issues that topics that we'll talk about as regards Nigeria is the issue of security. Still on the front page of the Weekend Trust, troops recover 60 IEDs, kill suspected terrorists in Borno.
When I hear such things, what baffles me is this. When you take out terrorists, before you even take them out, do you ask questions as to who is sending them?
Okay.
Because they cannot carry out this operation on their own terms. I mean, they must be on the payload, or rather the, what do you call, the pay packet, or the payroll, rather, of their sponsors, okay? And we never get to know the sponsors. That is the big problem in this country. Yes, you take out the bandits and kidnappers and all of that, but who are behind them? What are the powers behind them? It's been said many times, in fact, there have been newspaper editorials, that these bandits do not operate on their own.
Exactly.
Yes. People are behind them. And it's a multi-billion-dollar business now. Far better than even than politics. Okay? Sadly enough. All right. So, but we must get to the root of the matter. The military will come out, yes, they are doing their work, taking out all these people. But you're only cutting the branches. What are the roots?
Okay.
You must uproot before you can talk about elimination, complete elimination.
Yes. We've always seen this scenario. Wherever the military carries out such cleansing attacks as the case may be, there are always civilian casualties.
Yes, maloperations, either on land or in the air. We have had situations in this country where bombs are thrown down into civilian population. It's terrible, really. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, you must do your work properly. Okay, I'm not saying that the military high command is not trying, but they must do their best in the circumstance. And people, they just get killed innocently. Not by bandits. That's the irony. Not by bandits, but our own forces. And they'll come out to say that, well, there was a mistake here and there. All right, but what are the compensations even for the victims? Yeah, we must look at those indices. Okay, and yes, you're right, highly populated areas are no-go areas for military operations. You use intelligence. Okay, it's not a question of dropping bombs in highly densely populated places. But intelligence works better. Intelligence in the sense that these people are in their, I mean, for instance, in the north, they know them, by their actions and all of that. So they can lead people to get the right information through networking. Okay. Right. I mean, even talking about our borders, which have become very porous in the last few years. And I've said it before on this station, that look at the kidnappers. Can you tell the difference between the guy from Niger Republic or Chad, the difference between him and the guy from Katsina? It is difficult because they wear the same clothes, by the way, all right? Their physique is the same, their religion is the same, their language is the same. So it is intelligence, probably alone, that can take out these people before they mix with the people.
Okay.
Yes.
And so are you in support of the fact that Nigeria should collaborate with other nations, bordering nations, as regards our borders, when it comes to the issue of tackling security?
Not just countries bordering Nigeria. In the Western world, for instance, I know that not France really, a few other countries have volunteered that they should come. Even the US have volunteered that they should come.
Exactly.
I don't know what has gone in between. But if you can't handle a situation effectively, then you must tell yourself that you need help. Okay? It's not a sign of weakness. We're only just trying to preserve the lives of Nigerians, and no sacrifice can be too small, or too big rather, to do the needful. I believe that there are many countries around the world that are willing to come and help Nigerians. And believe it or not, even though they say that we have the right military forces, they are overwhelmed. Yes, and they have said that repeatedly, they are overwhelmed. And that is why we need external forces. Okay.
Talking about the external forces, you say I've always gone there when it comes to guerrilla warfare. You have never been in support in the past. Have you changed your mind now?
Guerrilla warfare, I mean, these people you talk about, kidnappers and the rest, they hit and run back.
Yes.
Yes, that's some kind of guerrilla warfare. So we must train our soldiers to be able to handle that,
Okay. Okay.
And I think most of the military officers who have spoken about this, retired military officers, have said, look, this is not the ordinary kind of warfare that our soldiers are used to. We must train them properly to handle this kind of guerrilla warfare situation. I believe that very strongly, and I know that yes, they are given adequate training, particularly when they are trained in arid countries. I think they will do much better. They will do much better.
All right, we'll go to an issue that has been on the front burner. I decided to save it for the last. The issue of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's second term in office, which should be covered up in 2027 if he wins the election. And there has been so much debate. Should he come back or should he not come back? The opposition over time have formed a coalition. Let us look at the front page of the Tribune newspapers, where we are set to sack Tinubu in 2027. This is coming from the ADC. Says our coalition is out to rescue the poor. This is coming from Arebe Shola. And we'll tie this story to This Day newspapers. On the front page of This Day newspapers, we have coalition to unseat Tinubu in 2027 doomed to fail. This is coming from Wike and Shonwo-Olu. They declare, they've made this declaration, and an ex-governor, his name though not here, has come out to say that governors' defections won't save APC or Tinubu from defeat. Let us now tie this story to the front page of the Nation newspapers, where we have controversy trails membership status of Atiku Obi El Rufai. You can't serve two masters. Bode George slams ex-vice president orders.
Well, the political firmament has been illuminated. Yes, across board. And yes, things are going to get a little bit more exciting as the weeks and months go by. The reason being that for the moment, we seem to be having what we call a strong opposition, okay? Because I'll tell you something. Democracy thrives. One of the things that will make democracy thrive is a strong opposition. In fact, I said that very copiously in my book that I wrote about 6-7 years ago. Pathways to effective leadership. This was one of the things I talked about in that publication. And guess what? If you don't have a good opposition, then you are tilting towards a one-party state. And I think that these guys in the ADC, that's what they are saying, that let us not have a one-party state. But I will tell you, I'm not a prophet, but I can easily see this coming. Very soon we are going to have a two-party system in this country. Because I imagine that all these other parties, PDP, Labour and the rest, they will collapse into ADC if ADC is strong enough. Because all the big wigs you have in the other parties, they are all crossing over. You know, all the big wigs, mention them. They are all crossing over to ADC. And Wike, on the other hand, Wike and the rest are saying are doomed to fail. But they shouldn't take things for granted. Because politics is a game, as they often say, it's a game of numbers. All right? But I'm happy that we are beginning to have a semblance of a strong opposition if they put their acts together. That makes democracy beautiful, really. All right? I mean, this whole idea of governors crossing to APC and all that, many Nigerians are not comfortable with that. I mean, to be very honest, they are not particularly comfortable with that. And that's the fear. And that fear has been made strong by the fact that even National Assembly members are crossing over, you know. But the fear can be enfeebled if they don't put their acts together, you know, and that's what people like Bode George are afraid of. That look, you don't do this. But the parties are crumbling, and you ask yourself, who are those remaining in PDP now, for example? Okay. In fact, I saw on the social media a couple of days ago that there were two boats. In one of the two boats, people were filled up. People filled up the boat. And on the other boat, only Wike was remaining. The implication of that is that many people who have left are going to leave the PDP to join the new bandwagon, and to remain only people like Wike and the rest. So there's a problem there. Okay. But for the APC, what makes them think that even some governors in the APC will not be thinking of joining the new phenomenon that is coming? What makes them think so? Because in this country, nothing is impossible. Absolutely. Nothing is impossible. So I believe that, yes, we must give room to this kind of scenario. All right? It makes things look better without acrimony. There shouldn't be any acrimony. And opposition makes the government in power to sit up, by the way. It makes them to sit up and to do things appropriately. And what will happen, I'll tell you, in the next few weeks, there will be work for the media people to do. Serious work for them to do. Because this is going to be in the media. Yeah, the war now, in quotes, is going to be in the media. How do we get at these people? The opposition will say, how do we get at them? Yes. It will be through the media.
Definitely.
Right. And the media people should be ready for such onslaught. They should be ready across board. Yes, I can tell you. It will come, whether we like it or not.
Let us not also forget the fact that there will be power tussles as regards the new political party on ground.
I was coming to that. One of the things they should watch out for is the issue of ego.
Okay.
All right, who gets what and who doesn't. But that shouldn't be, and I think they have told Nigerians that very clearly. That shouldn't be their cup of tea at the moment. It shouldn't. Because you see, the APC is still in power. Yes. And For a government in power, it has the authority to handle many more things than they think of. Okay? So, but the ADC, I'm just looking at how they possibly easily got ADC. Because they were going to form another party. Yes, INEC put a wedge. And then they crossed over to ADC. And now look at the ease with which they got the leadership. Even within ADC, there's a tussle. Their presidential candidate was saying a few days ago that no, he doesn't believe in the chairman. The chairman is saying we are all for ADC. So you can see the configuration there. Yes, problem here, problem over there. But I do know, certainly, that many more people possibly will still cross over to ADC. Because Nigerians like the new bride. Nigerians like a new experimentation. What is this one going to look like? Let us find out what it's going to look like. But there will be the issue of molds. Don't forget, APC obviously will put some molds in ADC just to get to know what they are doing, what they are planning, and then they will hit when the time comes.
In our news bulletin yesterday, there was the report about INEC having got to the 122 applications from groups vying to be political parties. You talked about the two-party system. Is it healthy for Nigerians to have over 100 political parties?
They will die off naturally. I mean, that's the bitter truth. Some of them will merge with APC. Some of them will merge with the new phenomenon coming up. There's no doubt about that. Some of them might not have offices in more than 2 or 3 states, but they want to be registered as members. And you leave them. I mean, that's the law. You leave them, they will fizzle out on their own. I mean, nobody will tell you. They will fizzle out on their own because nobody will even join them to start with. But I think that, I don't know if INEC is still doing it. They used to give them some money in those days. Maybe that's what they're after. Money,
they still do that, yes.
They still do that. That's what they are looking for.
A prominent politician complains seriously about that. Yeah, honestly, that this is the incentive.
It's the incentive, and it shouldn't be. They should get money within their own system to be able to run. I mean, it's not the business of INEC to be giving them money to run offices and things like that. No, it's not. I'm totally in disagreement with that. And you also know this, that when you have democracy thrives better when there are not too many parties. Maybe 2, 3, 4. It thrives better all over the world. I mean, look at the United States, for instance, Republican, Democratic parties. But that's not to say there are not others are not there. They are there, but here and there. But you can't find them. But they continue to play their role to sustain democratic principles. Even in Britain, for instance, all over the place. Usually when you have a two-party system, and that is what I think Babangida was toying with in those days, when he had the SDP a little to the left, a little to the right, NRC and all of that. And it was a beautiful setup, really, even though it was a diarchy. But it was a beautiful setup, and people were enjoying it. There was less acrimony. Yes, there was far less acrimony. When you have a multi-party system, within the system that runs on 4 or 5 parties, beautiful. But when you have a multitude, extra multitude of 50, and it becomes more expensive when the election comes, how many are you going to have on the ballot paper?
Yes, he also raised that point, the prominent politician that I talked about.
How many of them are you going to have on the ballot paper?
So it's becoming confusing.
Confusing. I mean, it's just crazy. The electorate will not know. Most of our voters, most of the market women and all that, semi-illiterate, they will take time to look for their whatever, and the symbol of the party they want to vote for is hidden somewhere, and then you have some other that are in our course getting the upper hand. Okay, so what do we do? It's extra funding for INEC, right? It's money they are going to spend, right? So I think the electoral body should just look at this appropriately. But the law says yes, you can open your doors. Yes, but I think that there should be conditions.
Okay.
Yes, there should be conditions if you don't have the required number of offices around. But Nigerians are good at changing the system. You'll find them hiring offices all over the place. And nobody there.
Nobody there. That's quite true.
Nobody. We have seen it in this country. Yes. Even look, let me tell you this. Even constituency offices for some of our legislators, you won't find anybody there. Go around, you won't find anybody. But they will just put XYZ, whatever, the constituency office. Nobody.
Now let us look at this issue of internal wranglings amongst almost all the political parties, even the APC. They're having their internal wrangling now with the issue of should Shetima continue with Tinubu in the second term or not. What do you think about this?
Well, APC has come out clearly to say that the president has the power to pick his running mate. Okay. But I just look at it this way. I said something about it a little while ago. It creates more acrimony, for instance. Maybe they are looking at the Muslim ticket that has become very burdensome, for which people might accuse them in 2027. Tinubu is a Muslim, Shetima is a Muslim. Maybe they want to change that scenario to bring in the northern person who is a Christian, a northern Muslim. A northern Christian, who is also very deep into the workings of APC. I think that's where their minds are going to, because you cannot have a Muslim ticket again in 2027. Okay. Because people quarrel with this in the first step. All right. But, well, they have been pointing accusing fingers at Shetima. He did this, he did that. Well, that is left for them. Internal wranglings you cannot rule out from any political party. But I'm more concerned about internal democracy, which is ruining many political parties, for example. It has ruined a lot of political parties. When you do not give authority, or when you do not give out power to whosoever should have. I mean, for instance, during the election, the guy qualifies to be a member of the House of Reps, but he doesn't have all the money. Then you give it to somebody else who has a deep pocket. That's not internal democracy, for instance. And a lot of people have lost out in this process. And it has brought a lot of parties into odium. Yes, rightly or wrongly.
Well, we could continue on and on with politics, but just one more, because the MCR Roman has already, we're always having a problem. He keeps signaling me that we're editing another program's time. Let us look at this issue on the front page still of the Tribune newspapers, where Edo government confirms dengue fever outbreak, records 86 cases.
I remember very well, the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Shomole, said it, I think it was on the particular day when not leprosy now, but sickle cell issues were being tackled. And he said it clearly, that yes, there's dengue fever and diphtheria. Yes. These are two very dangerous illnesses. But he said on that occasion that the antidote to it would be to maintain a clean environment. But the mosquito is different from Anopheles that causes malaria. This one bites you in the afternoon, without looking back. The mosquito that carries, the what do you call it now?
Is it the dengue that spreads
dengue fever?
Dengue fever.
Yes, it is far more dangerous than the one that causes malaria. Yes, but what do we do? A clean environment. Exactly. Remove the drains from the environment. The flowers, you must cut them appropriately to make sure that there's no stagnant water. Okay? So he said that much. And he also told the audience that day, incidentally I was there, that, look, we should not take this in for a ride. Right. A friend of mine, who is a doctor, traveled somewhere to the southwest, and when he came back, he has a private hospital. The hospital wards were filled to the brim because of this. People were just brought in on a daily basis. And what were the symptoms? The symptoms were those of dengue fever. So it has become a kind of problem, a very huge problem in this state. And I'm sure that the earlier the government, through enlightenment programs like this, what we are doing now, for instance, we're trying to enlighten the people as to what to do to avoid the terrible effects of dengue fever. It's not very common in the environment, but it just came on suddenly. Even diphtheria. I have not heard of diphtheria for a long, long time. I thought it was gone from our shores, but suddenly it's rearing its ugly head. And I believe that, yes, public health matters a lot. People in charge of public health system must be up and doing. Let's enlighten the people as to the dangers of dengue fever, and it kills faster than malaria.
Malaria.
Yes, it kills faster. Okay, so we must ensure that once you have the symptoms, quickly go to the hospital, the nearest hospital. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for being in the studio with me. But as usual, the CEO has his parting shot.
Parting shot on this occasion, we'll just, I've talked about this, but people must learn to do the right things appropriately. We must learn to abide by the rules. Okay. Abiding by the rules means let us not carry rumors. Yes. Let us not carry, particularly those who are very well visible in social media. I mean, it's becoming quite an embarrassment. You carry all sorts of things. Sometimes some of them make me laugh. Some funny folks, because they don't have the experience of the media, they just come on camera and they say all sorts of things, just to pile up views or whatever they call it. No, it doesn't make sense at all. And that's why people have been saying that they should regulate, but I'm against that. Okay. But it's just that we should be able to tell them that, no, what you are doing is wrong. I mean, you bring... Look, what they even do now, they bring pictures of something that happened about 5 years ago.
Yes,
and they run a story on it. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. You bring people, soldiers now, who are alighting from an operation in maybe Libya or somewhere. I even saw one the other day. Oh, no, they are going to Russia. They are going to Iran to go and fight Israel. I mean, how do you say such nonsense? Yeah. Absolute nonsense. They probably picked the picture of somewhere, people going on peace mission and things like that. They brought that, and somebody ran a commentary on it. Oh, Iran is on fire. They are going to Iran now. Look at our soldiers. Look, it is terrible. It is just terrible. So, people, well, we say that social media is two-edged sword. Pick the right one, drop the other one. I mean, they flog the social media with all kinds of things. Terrible things. You are aware of what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, all kinds of things. And it's not helping us. Yes. In information dissemination, it's not helping us at all. Yes, it's not. And you have all kinds of people now who they will just pick up money to buy a camera somewhere. And the next news is, oh, Tinubu has gone to Swaziland. This. Look at him. He's entering the plane now. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is
absolutely ridiculous.
Totally ridiculous. And that is why I am one of those individuals who advocates that there should be very, very strict measures as to when it comes. But then in Nigeria, by the time we bring about strict measures, it might go the other way around.
It might go. It's unfortunate. Even Buhari tried to do that, but it didn't work out. The National Assembly, under Buhari, you remember they were going to put all kinds of wedge in between. But we just need to enlighten them. I mean, these people. We need to enlighten them. Young school leavers who have nothing to do, they just go on the social media. And they spread very terrible information.
That's quite true.
And because we have a large population, most of our people, they take these things hook, line, and sinker. Yes. Hook, line, and sinker. They just take it. Oh, it was on the social media. This. There are certain things that just do not make sense from the social media. They do not make sense at all.
Yes. And well, the regular media, they have quite a lot of
mainstream
work to
media.
do.
Yes.
The mainstream media, they have quite a lot of work to do as regards sensitization. It's not everything. There was a colleague of mine who actually came out to say that he doesn't go near the social media when it comes to news production. No. I'm not saying, I mean, look at it now. I'm not saying that something good cannot come out of the social media. But these things must be made on the basis of maturity. Yes, it's not, I see some of them, oh my God, sometimes it's so nauseating. I mean, the language is bad, grammatical errors all over the place. And then you want people to consume these things, and people do, particularly our women folk. They have time for leisure. The only leisure they know is to go on the social media, and they consume all sorts of things. Yes. And these things have a way of impinging on their conscience. Right. I just told you one, a very typical example. Okay, a typical example. Look, a friend of mine who is supposed to be enlightened, when he told me, I just laughed. A convoy of vehicles. I said, oh, the Iranian president has been captured. Is going. They got the picture from somewhere, on the convoy, and they just sold that to the audience. Yes, and it's so terrible. And it's so terrible. That is why I think it was Lai Mohammed who said when he was the minister under Buhari that social media is
is potent enough to destroy the fabrics of the unity of a nation.
Yes,
if you are
yes,
not
yes.
careful.
That's
It can.
true.
It has the potential of doing that. It can make two ethnic nationalities to clash
Yes.
if we are not careful.
Mm.
Yes. But that's not to say that
Yeah.
we must condemn everything that comes out of social media, because in any case, the social media, mainstream media, sometimes they are in tandem as to certain news.
Yes.
That's the situation.
Thank you so much, sir. For you, viewer out there, I want to say a wonderful thank you. And as usual, please remember to tell your friends and family about Providence Television International. Thanks for watching. Please stay tuned.